Hey folks, part one of our ice cream model today. In this video we are going to be having a look at our data set and coming up with a plan with what we're going to do with it. So if we have a look at our screen now, we can see the Excel file that I've got open. I've cleaned this up. Now this is some fictional data. We've generated this using AI and we've generated this with features that we'd expect to see from an ice cream store down here on the Surf Coast. So for example, we'd expect to see more sales when it's hotter than when it's colder. We'd expect to see more sales on the weekend versus weekdays, more sales in school holiday periods versus non-school holiday periods and public holidays, and etc. So we've generated this data set, 1 year of sales, and then we've imported in some max temperatures for those dates as well. So we can have a look here. We've got the generated sales figures over here as well. Now on the next tab we've got a little bit of extra information. We've got a breakdown of popular flavours for this ice cream shop, so you can see that up the top here. And then we've got a little bit of information that we've received from the owner that staff can serve approximately 200 ice creams per day each, and each ice cream uses 200 mils on average. So some very high level stats, but this is going to be a great example of building a data model and a data dashboard. So if we jump over to our plan, we're just in Lucid Chart here, which is a nice program that I like to use for planning out our dashboards. So we can see in the background of this dashboard we're going to have our prediction model. So this prediction model is going to be fed in live weather data, and from that model that's going to provide us with the date for a certain day. So it's going to provide a 15-day forecast including the current day that we are in, and that should update each day. We'll see what happens. From that date field we're then going to generate a day of the week column as well, just so it's easy to see what day of the week we're looking at. The key thing that this prediction model is going to do is predict ice cream sales. So it's going to be fed in that historical data that we've just had a quick look at in the Excel file, and it's going to also include the weather data that we're live feeding in, and the public holidays and school holidays, and then predict a sales figure for that certain date. Once we have that figure, that's the key one that we need to help us predict our staffing requirements and the amount of ice cream of each flavour that we expect to use in that day. So this is a one-page dashboard. This is a really simple one that we can create. But something like this would be highly valuable to an ice cream shop owner because they can have a look at this once a day. It's all the key information that they need is right there. We've got a little bit of information about the dashboard and where the data is coming from, and then we'll whip up a quick logo as well. So in part two we're going to build this prediction model, so if you're interested, have a look at that. Part three we're going to build out the final dashboard and make it look really nice, and then we'll put it up on the website so you can have a play with it too. Hey folks, part two of our ice cream prediction model. So we've jumped into Microsoft Power BI, that's Power Business Intelligence. This is a great application for displaying and visualizing data in the form of dashboards. So we have, if you remember back to last video, we had a look at the Excel file and then we built out a rough plan in Lucid Chart about how we'd like to structure our dashboard. But first we need to build that prediction model that's going to sit behind that dashboard. So we have imported in our Excel file, the sales and temperatures file, and then we've created a machine learning model. Now there's lots of different ways you can create machine learning models. I normally just do them by code, so using Python or R. There's a number of other languages you can use as well. But Microsoft Power BI has recently released a machine learning model feature, and I haven't used it before, so I thought I'd have a look and see how that works, because this is quite a simple model that we're having a look at today. So we've built our machine learning model. This is a regression model which will help us to predict ice cream sales each day. So how this works, a machine learning model, if we move back to our Excel file, what it's going to do is split that year of data into a training set and a testing set. So the training set would normally be 70 to 80% and the testing set the rest. So the model will have a look at the training set, it will have a look at the ice cream sales, and then it will try and develop a mix for how important the maximum temperature is and how important the date field is. We can see that our model performed to a 94% accuracy. Now in real life that's actually probably a little bit high. we want our model to typically be quite flexible because you're never going to be able to predict things perfectly. But if we remember back, we generated this data using AI and the features we'd expect to see from an ice cream parlour, and then we've now generated our model using machine learning as well. If we have a look at the top predictors, you can see that maximum temperature has a massive influence, and then we've got the date fields down here. Okay, so the next step is to develop our predictions. So to do that, we need a forecast and we need some weather information and the date. So what we've done is developed a API. So that means that we're going to get a 15-day forecast of Torquay that's going to update each day, and then we're going to be able to apply our model to that and then display all of that in a really nice dashboard. So stay tuned for that in part 3. Hey folks, part 3 of our ice cream prediction model. So if we remember back to part 1, we built out our plan for our dashboard and how we would like that to look. In part 2, we built our prediction model and had a look at a little oversight of how that process works. So we're now ready to build our dashboard. This is the fun part. So we've got our model, we're going to bring that in. We're then going to develop our table down here of the key information for our client. We're going to have a graphic displaying the different amounts of each flavour that we predict will be required in this time period, and a little bit of information about the dashboard, and we'll create a little logo as well. So without further ado, here it is. And there it is, guys. We've got our beautiful looking dashboard. We've created a business called WinkiPopsicles and Ice Creamery. So there is a surf breakdown here called WinkiPop if you're wondering what that means. That's there. We've got a little faded out ice cream in the background, so it looks really pretty. We've got our key information feeding in over here from our predictive model. So we've got the date. From that date column, we are grabbing the day of the week so you can see that at a glance. The key figure is the sales that we predict on each day. So that is taking into account historical data that we fed in from part 1 and live weather forecasts that we fed in from part 2 of this series. We've then got the staffing prediction. So if you remember in part 1, staff on average can serve 200 ice creams per day each. There's some information from the owner, so that's where that figure is coming from. And then we've got the expected use of each flavour in litres. So that is coming from, again, part 1 when we had a look at the different amounts that this ice cream shop sells on average. So at the moment we're looking at the full 15-day forecast in these figures, but this is a dynamic dashboard as well. So you can click on the fields if you'd like to just have a look at a certain day, and these graphics will update. You've also got the range down here, so if you just want to look at a certain range, you can. These are all filterable as well. So let's say, for example, you wanted to do a deep clean of your ice cream shop and you're trying to choose a certain day that might be good to do that. So we can filter these high and low, so we can see that this upcoming weekend, which is next week when we're filming this video, so expecting only a small amount of sales on those days, so that might be a good day to potentially close and do a big deep clean. But they're all filterable. This is a really high level dashboard. This is just a single page one, but with Power BI we can create really complex ones that you can drill down into information. So you could have a whole page just on the use of vanilla ice cream if you'd like to. But we've just created the one tab for this one called our forecast. We've got a little bit of information about this model over here, so the client can see how it was created, where the information is being pulled from. So something like this would usually take about 1 to 2 business days to create, so it's quite quick. We can then continue to update the model when we get future data and make it more robust and hopefully more valuable to the client. So we've also popped this up on the website if you'd like to go and have a play with it yourself. So if you head over to Bell's, you can head into our demo section, and we've got our ice cream forecast live. We've got a little bit of information and the typical length of time that something like this would take to create. We've got the model down here. You can click on this to make it full screen if you'd like, and you can play with all the filters yourself. Hope you liked the ice cream sales forecast. The next project we're going to be working on is a sports draft model that aims to encourage teams to always win. So stay tuned for that. I'll release that in the next couple of weeks. I'm working on that at the moment. We might line that up with AFL because that's actually in their regular season. So stay tuned for that. Hope you like the ice cream model, and if you have any other ideas or you'd like to get in contact, then please visit bellsdata.com.au. Thanks.